And we're back, Stripes Show podcast on a Tuesday. I'm your host, Travis Fulton. Thank you for making us part of your day. We come on air another week of professional golf and another storyline that not anticipating. Every week it just seems something comes down the pipe, and this week it's on the LPGA Tour, and we're a few minutes late actually getting on. And the reason is we were trying to catch up on the news on the LPGA Tour. Lexi Thompson, age of 29, retiring after this season. Keith, Stewart, thank you for joining us at Read the Line. We'll get to our bets last week, all things RBC Canadian Open coming up. But I got to ask you, buddy, I know you're heavy into the handicapping of the LPGA Tour. How does that land for you?
It's a huge surprise to me. Now, Lexi has struggled for the last 2 years with her game. And I at times I would even say struggling is a kind way to describe it. I mean, she really hasn't been in championship form. She hasn't won since 2019. And I wasn't really sure what was up, but she played well in that match and she carried herself very well. And this was a surprise to me. I didn't see this coming. Yeah. And it's the biggest week in all of women's golf. When you talk about the U.S. Women's Open, we've got Nelly going for 7 wins in a season, 7 and 8 starts. And I don't know. This is it's a tough one for the LPGA because even though Lexi hadn't played well in 2 years, she was still the biggest name in the sport. And looking back now at 29 years old and almost 50 majors that she's played in, because she's been playing since she was a young teenager out on tour. I don't know. It's too bad. It's too bad.
Yeah.
I feel like she could still accomplish a lot more. And you just wonder why she's walking away. I hope everything's okay.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. You hope everything is fine. You mentioned she hadn't won since 2019. She's missed the cut 3 straight now. I think 4 of the last 6, if I'm not mistaken. So It's been a tough go for her. 29 years of age, Lexi Thompson.
It's crazy.
Wow. I think you bring up a valid point, and it's real, of course, as we transition to the tough week that was and the Charles Schwab and how real the struggle can be. Not just on the golf course, but off the golf course. And Grayson Murray, of course, taking his own life, and that was tough. That one hits home. I've even in my own family, I've had someone do that, and that's a really difficult thing to watch and then to go through. And Grayson, I just gave him so much credit for how open he was about it and the struggle that was. And I'm not saying, Lexi is certainly, anywhere near that, but, you just start to want to reach out, right? When something like this happens and you hope everything's okay, hope it's coming from the right place. You hope it's well thought out. And you hope that there's a second career there for Lexi Thompson, right? And maybe she's thinking and she wants to do something else that's going to fulfill her. So you just hope that it's for the right reasons, and that it's not an impulse and it's not coming from the wrong state. And I know she's got a great family and a great supporting cast, and I hope that I hope everything is going to be great for her for the years to come. But gosh, 29 years of age, boy, I know the game can beat you down. And, maybe it's just a situation where maybe she just kind of takes some time and gets away a little bit and kind of recharges her battery and lights the fire and practices with no added pressure, becomes an improved putter and comes back and has a second career. Because, man, you start getting into your 30s, man, you got some prime golf still ahead of you. You just got some great golf still ahead. So, wow, just another shocker, building off of what was Grayson Murray last week.
We're just hearing about this news now. So instantly with the recency bias of the Grayson Murray story, maybe it's a really positive thing. Maybe it's like a Lorena Ochoa. She wants to walk away and privately she wants to start a family and she wants to have a normal life. She's played almost 250 LPGA events by the time she's 29. I mean, that's a lot. And, I'm sure she's banked some serious cash over the years. She's got career earnings. She's got roughly about $15 million. So hopefully she's been smart with that. And maybe she just wants to start a family and she wants to have a
Yeah.
private life. Um,
Yep.
it can get a little bit, I mean, you're always surrounded by crowds, but that doesn't mean that you're not alone when you're out there,
Oh,
like, I mean, I do a lot of travel and sometimes it can get lonely out there. I've got a
yeah, no
beautiful
doubt.
wife and a couple kids at home and, you get out on the road and it's one of those things. So, maybe she's going to start a family or something
Yeah.
like that. Or maybe
Yep.
she just needs a break, like you said, which would be great.
Yep. Absolutely. And certainly wishing her the best. At the end of the season, we'll see a little bit more for sure here. There's a lot of golf
Yeah.
left this season. And yeah, about this traveling thing, I actually traveled a little bit this week, and I used to travel a lot, Keith, when I was running the PGA
Okay.
Tour Academies, work for Golf Channel and this and that. And man, it seemed fun at the time. It seemed like, wow, young and no family yet. Now, cruising around. I mean, it certainly got taxing, but now being away from it and then just traveling up to Atlanta and driving to Macklemore Golf Club, which we had a great experience, saw my buddy Charlie Reimer and
Oh, nice.
played golf up there for a couple days. I mean, we just had a hoot. But man, I was traveling up with my buddy and everything was just going like way too smooth, way too smooth, way too convenient.
Oh, yeah.
And I told him, I was like, look, I've traveled a lot and I usually have bad luck traveling. Like my flights are getting canceled. Something weird's happening. And everything's just like super convenient. And
Oh,
so
boy.
here we are traveling to get our rental car, right? Okay, boom, get to Avis, and all right, the line's like an hour in line to
Oh,
get
yeah.
the car. But I'm Avis preferred, right? So okay, so I just go
Ooh,
to the desk. But my
flex.
but my reservation somehow is attached to a different account. That's not Avis preferred.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here
Not
we
going to
go.
get into it. 2 hours
Yeah.
later, we drive out of there.
Oh, the pain.
Always something, man. Oh, I mean, it's just, like that's not a real problem. Like let's face it, that's not a real problem. But to
Yeah.
your point in travel, man, it can get it can wear on you. And yeah, these guys are they're lonely out there. There's no doubt, not all of them, but there is a loneliness to being a professional golfer, both
Yeah.
on the men's and women's tour. I want to get back real quick to the positive of Charles Schwab, which
Ooh.
was Davis Riley. Now, if you guys watch the show
Oh,
and you watch
yeah.
it towards the end, Keith asked me a question about a player. And that question was about Davis Riley, right? And it was interesting because when we got off air, I thought about it. And then, of course, when he ran up the leaderboard, and I know where Keith comes from, he's out there on tour and he really examines the profiles of these players and the skill sets of these players. And I knew that, okay, so Keith likes Davis Riley's fit here. Now, from my context and where I'm coming from, it was I've been, kind of off on Davis Riley for the last better part of 6 months. And the reason is because his trajectory was going very well when he was working with Jeff Smith. And it's like so many players, all of a sudden he switches coaches.
Yeah.
And he loses his game. And I just don't understand that for the life of me. I just don't. And it frustrates me having my instruction pedigree. And so I've been kind of down, but as of late, I told you that, look, I think things are stable with him. I think they're moving in the right direction. Now, I didn't expect him to go out and win. But nevertheless, he went back to his old coach, Jeff Smith. I was getting good vibes, texting with Jeff this morning. You liked his skill set, and my God, it panned out, buddy.
And the course fit too. I've been watching Davis do. So what? Davis won a year ago though, but he won the team
Right.
event with
Right.
Nick Hardy, right?
Yep.
And since that time, he's really struggled, and he really struggled through the fall, and just in the last 6 weeks or so before Colonial, he seemed to me to be in better spirits at the different venues that I'd been to and I'd seen him, and he just seemed to be playing better.
Yeah.
And he was doing the things that made him great in that spring of 2022 when he was runner up at Valspar, and then, hey, Colonial, he finished fourth. You had a bunch of top tens that year. So coming into this week, I just felt like he was somebody that we should pay attention to.
Yeah.
Turns out he
No, it's
was.
a good call. It was a good call. It's a good session. Hopefully some of the listeners got on him as well. I know you did. And another week, another winner. Let's put a bow on Charles Schwab, and thoughts and
Do it.
prayers with the family of Grayson Murray. RBC Canadian Open. Our good friends north of the border,
Yeah.
Canadian Open. This tournament kind of bounces around a little bit, so you got to do a little deep dive here on exactly what we're playing. But this year, Hamilton Golf and Country Club. When you look at this venue, Keith, par 70. I always enjoy listening to your breakdown of all the courses, but par 70s in particular. So,
yeah.
Tell our audience, what are we looking at?
All right. Well, you're talking about a place that's hosted the Canadian Open 6 times before. Only 2 other courses in Canada have hosted more Canadian Opens than Hamilton Golf and Country Club. So this place has been around a little while, but it's hosted it 4 times since the turn of the century. This is going to be their 7th edition. And it became popular in 2019 when Rory went and won there. And he just basically tore up the field. He won by 7. He was 22 under. He shot 61 on Sunday. And what type of golf course are we talking about here? We're in Ontario. It's a little hilly. It's Parkland. We've got a nice little creek running through the golf course, but it's very much target, point and shoot Parkland golf. And we really have to focus here on approach play, which is kind of plays both poles. 40% of your approach shots are coming in from 150 yards and in, which or anyone that basically bets on golf knows that's a wedge in your hand. And then you've got another third of about 30% of the approach shots from over 200. So you have to have a very complementary skill set with your iron game. The putting is something that, everyone always kind of overlooks. They always want it to be team no putt week. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of the guys at the top of the board all the time aren't the greatest putters.
Right.
But if you go back to that leaderboard from 2019, 8 of the top 10 that finished that week were also in the top 10 for strokes gained putting for the week. And look at some of the names that are up there. Other than Rory, you had a guy like Webb Simpson, you had Matt Kuchar, you had Brandt Snedeker. I mean, these are notoriously great positional, par 4 scoring, make a ton of birdies with the putter and with their wedges. And that's what we're getting into again this week. They went through a renovation in 2019, but really all they've done is bring it back to the Harry Colt original design. And they've just made this place even more like it was maybe 50 years ago, except it's a little bit longer, maybe 100 yards, but it really doesn't matter. Par 70 scoring is unique. You have to be a great scrambler in order to score there. We've got 3 par 4s under 400 yards, and we've got 2 par 5s. Those 5 holes are where you've got to make some hay.
Yeah.
And I believe that it's been wet up there this week so far. The golf course is in perfect shape, but it's not going to be as soft as Valhalla, but it's going to be scoring ready. And I think that you're going to need to push yourself. Scott Piercy was 17 under in 2012. Technology, evolution, understanding of the golf swing. Rory's 22 under. Maybe that's a little high, but I think 17, 18 under is a legitimate target this week, right?
Oh, I agree.
And to get there, you're going to have to make some putts. You're going to have to scramble, and you're certainly going to have a radar-like iron game.
All right, so let's go to putting, because just looking at historically strokes gained putting, it's number 1, and it's way up there. To your point, you don't see that gap between strokes gained putting and strokes gained approach that significant. I'm not sure. I can't remember the last time I've seen this big of a gap between the two. Putting 1, approach 2. Usually approach is 1, putting is 2. Yep. If putting is 1 and approach is 2, it's usually very, very close. Correct. So you look at strokes gained putting. I don't want to steal the thunder here, but number 1, your boy, Sahith Theegala, Aaron Baddeley's 2, Garrick Higos 3, Mackenzie Hughes 4, Justin Suh, no surprise, 5, Ben Griffin 6, Tom Kim 7, Adam Scott, interesting play this week, 8, Ramey, Hadley. Those are the names that kind of pop last 50 rounds if we're really looking for that putter. Dylan Wu, Pendrith.
Oh, yeah.
Can I interest you in a Canadian winning again this year? By the way, last year.
Yes.
Nick Taylor. I mean, come on. That was one of the best finishes in a long time. I mean, that was a really incredible finish last year, the Canadian winning. Maverick McNeely up there. Kind of interesting name. I want to ask you about him. All right. St. Wallace, Cole, I mean, so those are some of the names that that if you go just straight to putting, right, and you just want to say,
Yeah.
hey, who are the top putters in this field coming in? And I know there's a guy that that you really really like, not just for his putting, for a number of things. So our first look this week.
Sahith Theegala. You already mentioned his name, but for all the right reasons. Those three things I went through. Guy's an incredible scrambler. He's a wonderful scorer with the flat stick, and his long iron game is completely underrated. You know, his accuracy from long range on approach is really, really good. It's top 20 in the field. And I know it's not the strongest field in the world, but there's some really excellent ball strikers in this field. And he's right up there with them. The guy is excellent. He's awesome with a hybrid or a long iron. Um, and I think that when you start to look at comp courses like a TPC River Highlands, where you got to kind of like just hit your spots, make your birdies, and move on, right? He's had success there. So, you know, I mean, at this point, with the way he's ball striking it, where doesn't his game fit? And he's still been warm from where he was in the spring. So there you go. All those reasons and a lot more.
Yep. 12th at the PGA, second at RBC Heritage. Got those RBC vibes.
Yeah.
And I put this picture up. I've put this picture up before, but I got to tell you, I really believe when you look at the trend of his driving and his approach game for that matter, and you look at the change that he's been consciously trying to make, and that's that club a little bit more complete and down the line versus short and maybe a little laid off. You know, that has paid dividends to his game, and it has transferred through. We've seen this move with the likes of Xander Schauffele and Jordan Spieth and others that work on this.
Yep.
But I think for Sahith, it's been linear. I think he's really benefited from it. We know he can go nuclear with his putter. I mean, the last time we saw him was positive 6.1 at PGA. You know, I think what it's going to come down to from I fully anticipate Sahith to be there. I think it's going to be the up and down. He has struggled to some degree with his short game a little bit, uncharacteristically, a little bit here. So I think for him to win, there'll be some key up and downs in there that maybe we haven't seen in the weeks past. But I think the rest of the game, I fully agree with the uptick of Sahith Theegala, and I am ready for him to move into that upper class and be that kind of player that we can all rally behind because he's cool. I really, really like the kid. All right, I want to go to the top of the board here.
All right. Hit me.
You know, Rory's there. We know that, right? And Rory's getting paid some probably nice dollars here to be there. We know he's played well there. We know the Canadians love him. A lot of smoke around Rory. As of late, I can't believe this is going to come out of my mouth, but I, for the first time, am a little bit worried about Rory going to live. And yeah, yeah.
Whoa.
I know.
Lexi's retiring. Rory to live.
I mean,
what's going on today?
Would anything shock you at this point? Honestly.
No, nothing shocks me anymore.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's going to shock you, right? I mean, someone could light the first fairway on fire this week and you'd be like, well, of course they did. I mean, what do you mean?
I mean, it's Canada.
Why wouldn't
I mean, what do you?
Right? I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, they had, you saw. I mean, here's another one, right? This week, you know who's kicking off the opening tee shot, right? And like what they're doing before they get play started on Thursday. So they've got
the creators of South Park. What do you got? I don't know.
I think it's Adam Hadwin's wife, and I think it's Mackenzie Hughes' wife. Canadians, and they're jumping out of an airplane. I mean, it's almost damn near LIV Canada as it is. I mean, jumping out of an airplane, get things kicked off. All right, so Canada
comes out for that event. I love it.
Oh, I know they do. I love it. Oh, it's fantastic.
They're great up there.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like warm like 3 weeks a year, and this thing's in the middle of it. So
it's going to be like 52, and they're going to be walking around with their shirts off, just 100%. taking it in.
Yep.
No one's betting McIlroy at 4-1. Then the big jump to Fleetwood. People love with Tommy Fleetwood, second last year. The
Oh,
heartbreak.
don't
The
talk to me, please,
heartbreak.
please. Plus
And
2,500, lost in a playoff. I don't need it. It's like,
okay. And he's going to get his first win. This is going to be his first win on the PGA Tour, right? You in or out?
out.
Okay.
I was there last year, plus
I
2,500
know.
on the 18th hole. Then he starts taking out clubs he hasn't even used all week, right? And he gagged that thing on the way in. That thing was terrible, terrible, terrible.
Connors, is going to get play. People are going to try to pull that guy across the finish line. I mean, they want Corey Connors to win, but it's the same old stories with Corey Connors. I mean, just a brilliant, and I mean, folks, a brilliant iron player. Okay. It is ridiculously good, but can't hit his ass with the putter. It's unbelievable, the narrative with Corey Connors and how it's the same every time. Short game struggles, putter struggles. It's just, you can't get there this week, can you? On this course, you can't get there with his, he can't do enough with the short game and the putter to win. No way.
Moving right along.
Okay. Yeah. So let me give you 3 names. Pick one.
Okay?
Or no. Rank them for me.
Oh, man.
Noren playing great golf. Yeah, I know. Noren playing great golf.
All right, Noren.
Shane Lowry.
Okay.
Cameron Young. For me, I'm going to answer my own question just to get in here.
All right, jump in there.
Lowry, Noren, Young.
What was the order? Was that top to bottom or bottom to top?
That is my order. Yeah, so Lowry's 1. Lowry's 1, Noren 2, Young 3.
Yeah, I would have the same order. I'd go Irish Bear, then I would go the Swede, and then I would take Cam Young for sure. And for all the reasons above, and I'll give you one more about our good friend Sugar Shane. So Harry Colt is the original designer of the first 18 holes there at Hamilton Golf and Country Club, 27-hole facility, but they're playing the West and the South, and he designed those many, many moons ago. And Harry Colt is a name we always hear in July because he is somebody that has designed a bunch of courses on the Rota, courses we used for the Open Championship. So he designed Royal Liverpool, which was last year, but he also designed Royal Portrush. Do you remember in 2019 who won Royal Portrush, the Open Championship?
I think I do.
Who was it?
Yeah. I remember there was like a little bit of a party afterwards too. I think Northern Irish style, right? Is that what it was?
Yes, it was. Yeah, Royal Portrush. I believe that was the Irish Bear, Shane Lowry. Yes. Right. Yes. So, last time he played there, 2019, Sugar Shane was runner-up to Rory. He won the B flight when Rory won the whole thing by 7.
Yes.
But what's significant about that, and Shane has been absolutely impeccable with his ball striking this year, but the putter has been horrific. But he goes to Valhalla and he gains 9 with the putter. Well, maybe that's just once in a lifetime opportunity, right? But if you go back to 2019, he gained almost 8 strokes with the putter on these greens. So maybe it's something about the Harry Colt design that he sees something better, or maybe he just needed a good mojo week with the putter out at the PGA. But in either case, of that list of 3, I mean, he's as far ahead of those other 2 in my mind as Rory was in 2019 from the rest of the field.
Okay. I agree.
I mean, if you want to bet somebody, to finish top 20, take Alex Noren every week. You'd be making tons of money. But that does not win you golf tournaments, and that's what we're here talking about.
Woo. I like that. That's a big statement. Big statement. I've already played Lowry. That's my guy. I love Segala too. I think we're in total agreement there. But Shane Lowry will be my second name at the top of the board. And here's how golf is, right? And people know that putting can be a difficult thing to predict. And look, there's some really good putters out there on the PGA Tour, and they're pretty consistent. And you kind of know what, for the most part, you're going to get. And then, like you said, the no putt team, and then all of a sudden they pop and they win, right? And all of a sudden they make some putts. But Lowry can be a little bit of an up and down kind of streaky putter. And to your point, I mean, you look at RBC Heritage, he lost 6.7. Then he goes to Wells Fargo, lost 5.8. Then he goes to PGA and gains positive 9.1. I mean, that's a 15-stroke difference. That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, if he can put together the kind of iron game that we see from Shane Lowry from time to time, and he'll go +5, and he has a remotely good putting link like he did at PGA. I mean, this is a place that he can win. So I like Shane
Oh,
Lowry,
yeah.
Open champion winner. There's no doubt he's number one, Noren 2, and then Cam Young 3. Now, I think Burns, look, continue down. I just want to comment on Burns, and then I'll let you drive the ship here. I always have this conversation in my head at times where you see a player like Sam Burns and you're kind of waiting for the tide to change, right? We know Sam Burns
Yeah.
can be a world-class player. We know that the guy can really get it going with his irons, and he can really get it going with his putter. So when we look at the skill set of this place, to me, Sam Burns is a guy that checks out here. Now, the problem with Sam Burns is that we just haven't been seeing the same version of Sam Burns. Missed the cut at the PGA, was 13th at Wells Fargo, but a couple big missed cuts there, Masters, Valspar, back-to-back weeks. The ball striking hasn't been quite as clean, maybe a little more erratic with the putter than we've seen, just kind of not, there, right? Not hitting on all cylinders. Now, the question is, he goes to a place, and these guys know, Keith, right? I mean, you're out there. Like, these guys know where their skill sets lie and where they have a better chance maybe at certain venues than others. They know that. And so I
100%.
think Sam Burns, look, he's looking to get this thing started. And so he's going to a place where, look, if Sam Burns shows up, kind of builds on maybe his last 2 events in ball striking. He was positive 2.7 in approach at the PGA, but he lost 5 putting. Now, Sam Burns never loses 5 putting, ever.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw it out. He's had 2 weeks of rest. My guy coming, is he going to win? No, but I look for him to start putting some Sam Burns kites of rounds together, and we build on it into the summer.
What's the question?
I wanted to give you a few thoughts on Sam Burns before you drive the ship. Now, that's the lead to you to drive the ship to the middle of the board. Take us.
Yeah, okay, so a little reaction to Sam Burns. I mean, he's sub 30 to 1 at that level of inconsistency. And even if you wanted to,
I'm not going to play him to win. I'm not going to play him to win. I'm just saying, like, I do like top 20. I think Sam Burns starts to get the wheels turning here.
well, it's more of a PSA then for the people that tune in and religiously listen to us week after week, right? Like, you have to kind of start to weigh out your options, right? Sam Burns can make a million birdies, but lately he just hasn't been very good. And at sub 30 to 1 in a weaker field, because he's a big name and he's won a bunch of times, just be careful of guys like that, right? He's sitting amongst a bunch of guys there that have shown much better form recently. And that's all I'll say about Sam Burns. I think it's kind of like a trap there. And if he wins at 28 to 1 or 25 to 1 or some of the numbers that he's sitting there, I mean, some boards have him down at 22 to 1, which puts him in the same ballpark as Sahith and Shane. And look at what they've done lately.
I got him at.
So just, I don't know. It gives me pause. If you want me to steer, I think there's a very good chance a Canadian could win this year. And there's 6 of them that are under 80 to 1. So 2 of them have already won on tour this year. So I think it'd be interesting to have a conversation with you if I start listing out Mac Hughes, Adam Hadwin, Taylor Pendrith, Nick Taylor, your defending champion, right? Adam Svensson, Corey Connors. We already talked about him. We could throw him to the side. But some of these other guys, right? What are your thoughts if you had to pick a Canadian to win back-to-back years and get themselves on this President's Cup team, which is a big deal to these guys? Trust me, they're talking about it every week, and they're being asked about it every week that I'm in the media center or I look at the transcripts and one of those guys sits down. They're being asked about it. And all 6 of them can't make this team. They'll be lucky if 3 of them make it. And 2 of them have already won. So what are you going to do in Canada to separate yourself? This is the week to do it. What do you think? Who does it? Who gets it done?
Well, I mean, Mackenzie Hughes, your shortest odds, right? And
yep. Other than Connors, but yeah, of that group I mentioned.
Oh, Connors, yeah. I mean, Connors is up, right?
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you, that's a really good question, because I think Mackenzie Hughes, you're going to get the elite putting, right? So you're going to get that elite short game in putting, and he can blitz it, and he has that skill set, what we've seen in years past in the Canadian Open. His ball striking can be a little inconsistent and this and that. Pendrith, I'm not sure if this is the best course for Pendrith, right? Because he likes to let the big dog hunt. Can you overpower this golf course? Can Pendrith let the
Rory?
big dog hunt here? Rory?
I mean, Rory, 22 under?
My gut, my feeling is, because you could pick holes through all of these, right? Adam Hadwin, I don't think his putter's has been struggling. My gut tells me Taylor Pendrith is on the uptick here. Now he won the AT&T. He comes back 10th at the Wells Fargo, plays 3 consecutive weeks, goes to the PGA and misses a cut. I think he's probably running on fumes at that point.
Agreed.
And so
100%.
To me, Pendrith is the guy. Pendrith is the guy. His approach game, can be, he can give us 3 or 4 strokes gained. I think, and we know he can get out there with the driver. He can give us 2, 3, 4 with the approach. I think his short game has been good, and I think his putter can be elite. And so I think Pendrith is on the uptick. I think his confidence is building. I think that first win meant a lot. And is he the player Corey Connors is week in and week out? No.
But right now he is.
But right now he is, and I think he's on a high. I think he comes in rested. He's got a win under his belt. Canadian fans, I'll go Pendrith 1. I'll go Pendrith 1. Mackenzie Hughes 2, Hadwin 3.
I will say I'll give it a tie. I'm going to go Hughes over Pendrith, only because I just don't see Taylor Pendrith being the guy that's going to win 2 times in a month. Right?
Yeah.
He wins the CJ Cup out in Dallas.
Well, no,
I'm
not saying he's going to win. I'm just saying that, of the list, who's going to finish higher.
Yeah, and I think that Mac Hughes really fills that role I was saying earlier, which was like Brandt Snedeker, Matt Kuchar, Webb Simpson. I mean, back when Tway won in 2003, he won in a playoff over Brad Faxon, right? So Mac Hughes and Brad Faxon have a lot of similarities in the way that they play golf. We're talking about the same golf course. You need to do the same things. And I think and Mac Hughes needs to get his way on that President's Cup team. He's not going to do it just on his recent great play, right? He needs to get himself into the mix this week, big time, up in Canada, and prove to Mike Weir that he can handle the crowd up there and the way that they'll act during the President's Cup for one of the local Canadians. So I like Hughes. But
you want to talk about a guy that loses his iron game though, with Mackenzie Hughes. I mean, like when he loses it, he loses it. Man, PGA Championship lost 3.7. He hasn't gained in strokes gained approach since March. Now his putter's just unbelievable. I mean, the guy can putt like no one's business. It's close. All right, I'll take Pendrith. You take me Hughes. You take Hughes for a bottle of wine. We're even right now, by the way, in our bets. Okay, we're even.
We are.
So I'll take Pendrith. You take Hughes. How about that? It's a good storyline, though, right? Because the President's Cup, they want to get on it, and they're going to be back. They are going to be back. I see. Look, let's kind of move down the board here just a little bit more. Svensson's the other Canadian now, right? Yeah, he's a guy that you've jumped on from time to time. He's right there next to Pendrith at what is he at 60-1? Got Doug Gim, Robert McIntyre has played some.
Svensson can't putt.
Svensson can't putt. Kevin, he can putt better than you.
And you don't mean me, you mean Kevin, you.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can putt better than
you too. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Mac Meisner. How about it? Mac Meisner is at 70-1. I love that kid. He was part of the first. He was part of the first PXG showcase that we did. He was there with Austin. I'm drawing a blank.
That group?
Yes, Austin. That group. Yeah, he was there with that group. What a great kid. And so with Austin, I've told you many times on what I felt about Eckrook, and I thought Eckrook was the best player of that group that we had. But I was impressed with Meisner too now, and he's playing some nice golf. So that's cool to see him up there getting the respect at 80-1, right there with Hogard and above Davis Riley. The disrespect. Mac Meisner is shorter odds than last week's winner who blitzed the field, Davis Riley. Tell me if that makes any sense. Davis, great job going back to your original coach, getting back to what made you a great ball striker, all of those things. You're back. It's awesome. And we hit you last week. Good job. So, Riley, Griffin, good putter. Eric Cole, good putter.
I don't know if Eric Cole is good at much lately, but Ben Griffin is somebody to pay attention to. A couple top 20s in a row. Excellent. I also like your boy this week, Davis. Not Cam, but Thompson. I think it's a good fit for him. He is a very, very underrated par 70 player, and that's what you need to be. And you know that's one of the things I love par 70 golf courses because it forces you to hit great approach shots. You have to be an excellent iron player to excel on par 70 golf courses because you get 12 par 4s, and they're going to beat you over the head. You don't get those par 5s that you get to take, those 2 extra par 5s that take holes off. And Davis has been playing much, much better. And I know we've been talking about this for months, but man, in that range, his trajectory is much like a Pendrith, and it's the opposite of a Batia or an Eric Van Rooyen, whose trajectories are going downward. And those are the things I pay attention to, you know, like, and it's just, you only get 70 strokes this week for par,
That surprises me. Yeah, that's good.
He's good.
Well, all right.
Could be better with the putter, but I think there's a chance here.
Let's give these boys let's give our audience a couple long shots to think about. I'll go first. All right. How about 175-1 bomber? Jacob Bridgman. There he is. Strokes gained putting, last 50 rounds coming in. He's 47th. Par 4 scoring, 43rd. Approach. We're going to sprinkle over that one just a little bit. 90th. I like this kid. You know, I like Jacob Bridgman. He missed a cut at AT&T. Finding his way. He's 21st at Houston. He's had some top 30s, top 40s. I think he's getting his footing underneath him, though. I really do. I think his putter's good. I think his short game is good. I think his approach game is on the uptick. Is he going to win this week? Probably not. I think he makes the cut. If you're looking for some odds in a top 20, I think Bridgman's worth a look. Here's another one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say his name. Yep, for sure.
Yep. Here's another one. And let me tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly Craft, folks. Kelly Craft is a ball striking Jesse. His iron game. I don't know what's happened here over the last 5 months, 6 months. But this dude's on a heater. I mean, a heater. AT&T positive 6.4. He was positive 7.
He was in the 5K. He was in the 5K land for CJ Cup. You keep calling it the AT&T. You got to use the right sponsors here. It's the CJ Cup.
Oh, CJ Cup. My bad. Yeah. Okay, my bad.
I call it the AT&T too still.
Yeah.
But
all right.
No, just having fun. The Kelly Craft coming into that, I was like, this guy's a perfect fit here. The only guy that made me more money at the AT&T / CJ Cup / Byron Nelson was Taylor Pendrith when we had him 100-1. But Kelly Craft killed it that week. He was unbelievable.
I like his golf swing. Look at this. I like his golf swing. It is. Yeah. I dig this. I dig this move. I dig the little hand path in, club down the line. Doesn't pull down on it. Watch this. Watch this club head. Just see that right there? See, I just kind of floated back. Yeah. I mean, just phenomenal. I mean, I love this move. And he can hit it. Wow. His iron game is great. His putting is not too bad either, folks. I mean, his putting is not too bad either. I think for the where's he at right now? Do you have it in front of you? I do.
Hang on.
I just got kicked out. As you look for it.
He's going to be in that 200 zone.
Okay, so here's the deal. I
Oh,
bet Kelly
I can
Craft.
see. We got somebody. Somebody's going to put him at 350, right where Davis was last week.
Okay, so I sprinkle a little Kelly Craft to win. How's that bite you?
Whew. Well,
Yeah, and
$10.
I got
$10
and I
might
got
get you 3,500.
and I got yeah, and I got some top and I got top 20 in there. So I got the top 20. But okay, let's go to our strokes and putting. He's 38th last 50 rounds. Par 4 scoring, he's 8th. Dude gets
Yep.
a ton of good looks. His approach game is, I already talked about it. Kelly Craft wins, and I'm going on an early vacation.
You're gonna go that deep, huh? You're gonna go that deep on 350 to 1. All right.
Just just giving the people something to think about, right? A couple guys there, I think maybe it's Nick Hardy. Saw one of his good buddies win last week. He got his win with Davis Riley in the team game. Maybe Nick Hardy's like, I gotta get there early. Gotta get the Canada early. Gotta grind a
I
little
mean,
bit.
how about Hayden Buckley? He's sitting up there in like 250, 300 land, right? He was 5th last week. Colonial's a great comp for this golf course. Same sort of thing going on. Once again, great green complexes. Going to test these guys. You know,
How do you not bet Justin Lauer here?
you got to love it.
How do you not
Sure.
sprinkle a little on Justin Lauer in that 150 range? I mean,
I'm
he's
telling
giving
you,
you.
this is going to be a scoring fest.
Yeah.
You're going to need high teens to do this thing. It's going to be somewhat soft up there, and you're going to need to be able to roll the rock. I'm telling you. So, which is perfect for Sahith Theegala.
He's not as good a putter as Mackenzie Hughes, though.
True. Hey, I got Mac Hughes too, man. I'm
Okay.
on that. I'm on that. I thought Matt. So here's the point. Mac Hughes started the week. I saw some boards at 55 to 1. He's down to 40.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Everyone's buying into the putting narrative. So if you can't putt, or if you're a putter on this board, get on him.
What putters are we missing? Is there any other names that you would add before we put a bow on this and in the field, putting? Obviously we've really weighed out how these guys are doing on the putter. I mean, Adam Scott was positive for Charles Schwab last week putting.
I'm content with our conversation.
Okay.
You know me. Last week you wanted to go, and I said,
got to ask about someone. We got to keep this. Ask about someone at this point. This is where we made money. This is where we made money.
Wait, hang on. Time out. We didn't make enough money last week to last us a while. He was 350 to 1.
I know.
Right? Like
Adam Blanc can putt. He's Monday qualifier.
Now you're just throwing darts at the wall, not the board. At the wall.
All right. I feel comfortable too. I do. I feel actually all my notes I've had, I've said what I needed to say. You're telling me you've said what you've needed to say. Yeah. And the bets are in. All right.
I'll say one more thing.
Okay.
I'll be at the risk of being redundant. I'll say this much. All of the videos that are all over social media about being kind to others and trying to reach out and keep in touch with all your friends and do all that family and everything, right? I'll just reiterate that. Let's have a wonderful week in golf. Let's hope that all the social media circling around Lexi is all positive, and let's just have ourselves another winning week and enjoy the fans in Canada, because that they will come out much like Kentucky, and it'll be a ton of fun to watch.
It is. It's going to be a ton of fun to watch. They come out, they're loud. It's great viewing. There's some names there. I don't think it's quite as strong as it was last year, but it is the Canadian Open. Rory's in the house, and so let's have a great week there. And then, hey, lot to look forward to as well. I mean, we've got Jack's tournament coming up, and we've got the U.S. Open. Then the Travelers is right after that, which is another elevated event, I believe. You got the Open Championship on the horizon. You've got the Olympics. You've got, there's a lot of good stuff happening here. And hey, we're winning some money. So great job, Keith Stewart. Read the line. We'll be back next week. Are you going? You gonna get milkshake? Jack's place? You going?
Yeah, I'll be on the road the next 3 weeks. You'll see me. You won't see all of this.
All right.
So yeah, I'll go Columbus, Pinehurst, and then Hartford.
All right. You the man, Keith Stewart. Read the line. See you next week. Boom.